Hi, I'm Danielle. Welcome to my perfume journal. This is the March installment of my series called Perfume Collecting for Regular People, where I openly share my monthly budget, all of my purchases, and my spending down to the penny. Perfume is just one of my interests. I also enjoy lots of other things, especially traveling. So I really try to watch my spending so that I can save up for the other things that I enjoy besides perfume. So this series is really for all of the perfume enthusiasts out there who love wearing and collecting perfumes, but also are trying to watch the wallet. So this month I added quite a few new perfumes to my collection, a whopping 9 bottles in total. That's a lot for me. They were all bottles that came off of my safe blind buy list. So safe blind buys for me are perfumes that I find when I'm researching online. Maybe I'm looking for a particular note, a combination of notes, a style of perfume, maybe a perfumer. And my little rule for myself is that it has to be under $50. I have a whole video that I made about how I go about choosing my safe blind buy perfumes. I'll link that below in case you want to check it out. And technically, one of the perfumes this month wasn't a blind buy. It was a perfume I owned many, many moons ago, but I really wanted to bring it back into my collection. So the first perfume for March is Stash Unspoken from Sarah Jessica Parker, and it was also one of my most worn perfumes for the month. I chose this perfume because I adore Stash, and I really wanted to see what this flanker was all about. So what I learned was that this is nothing like Stash at all. Stash is a very spicy, very resinous, woody scent. And I'm going to have to read up on how the perfumes in the Stash collection are supposed to be connected to each other, because I'm not seeing a DNA thread between Stash and Stash Unspoken. Maybe somebody out there knows the answer to this. If you do, please let me know. I'm really curious about it. Stash Unspoken is going in my group of what I call perfumey perfumes. It actually reminds me quite a bit of Burberry Brit. The notes of Stash Unspoken are quince, pink pepper, honeysuckle, peony, wisteria, musk, sandalwood, tonka bean, and frankincense. Now, I guess I would classify this as a fruity floral, but it's not overly sweet. I think that the woody, kind of powdery, resinous base gives it a really nice depth, and it also makes it something that you can really wear all year round. Even though the florals in this perfume are very spring and summery, you've got honeysuckle, peony, wisteria, I think this is a really versatile perfume. It's very pretty, it can be worn anytime, and I think this is a great addition to my collection. So thanks, Sarah Jessica Parker. I love this. So this is Aura from Jacomo. This is not a perfume that I would describe as crowd-pleasing, but I think this perfume is absolutely amazing. So I chose this perfume for 2 reasons. One, I have a vintage mini of Silences by Jacomo, and I think that perfume is one of the best mossy, bitter green perfumes of the 1970s. So I was really curious to try more perfumes from this designer. I was poking around online and this one caught my eye. This perfume came out in 2000, but I think it feels a lot more vintage. This definitely feels like something that might have come out in the late 1970s or early 80s. The notes of Aura are grapefruit, mandarin orange, blackberry, lychee, yellow freesia, mimosa, honeysuckle, lily of the valley, broom, peony, star jasmine, orris absolute, sandalwood, heliotrope, vanilla, and white musk. So this perfume is definitely a shapeshifter. A lot of perfumes are shapeshifters, but I think when you look at a note list, you kind of know what you're in for, and you get an idea of what the perfume might be like all the way from the opening to the dry down. But when I looked at this note list, I thought, wow, the notes look amazing, but what is this going to smell like? This is a wild combination of stuff. I really need to find out what this is all about. So I've only worn this perfume a little bit so far. I'm still getting to know it, but I think what it has revealed is pretty fantastic. This perfume is all at once green, fresh, floral, powdery, musky, a little bit sweet, and even a little bit sour. Now, I can't really go into a lot of depth quite yet about how this opens and what the entire wear is like, because I am still getting to know it, but it is really fascinating. And the perfumer behind Aura is Edward Flechier, who is the same perfumer who created Tendre Poison from Dior. And I do see some similarities between those two perfumes. I wouldn't say that they smell alike, but there is like a little bit of a recognizable DNA connecting them to each other. I am very, very glad I took a chance on this perfume, and I will definitely report back after I keep wearing this in the future. I also chose Softly Eau de Petales from Jill Sander. So I blind bought Sun back in February, loved it. And I came upon this perfume when I was searching for fragrances with a mimosa and rice combination. And since I loved Sun, I decided to pick this one up. The notes are cherry blossom, rosebud, May rose, mimosa, jasmine, white musk, rice, and ambrox. And I mentioned in an earlier video that I was a little bit worried that the ambroxan might be a little bit too much in this. I don't really like an overdose of ambroxan in a perfume, but as of right now, that does not seem to be the case. The springiness of this perfume is just undeniable. It's pink petally florals, fluffy white musk, and then that slightly starchy base. It's nothing too complex. It's nothing that requires a lot of thought. It's just a nice, light, fresh floral, and it's delightful. So this is Colors de Benetton Purple. I loved the original Colors de Benetton in the 80s, and I was really curious about a modern flanker of the original colors. So I picked this one up, and of all of the perfumes I bought in the month of March, this is the one I was looking forward to the most, and it is the one that I like the least. And I guess that's just how it goes sometimes. So the notes of Colors Purple are bergamot, grapefruit, jasmine, orange blossom, rose, musk, patchouli, and praline. And what I was expecting was a rose patchouli, but a little bit sweeter maybe than like Midnight Poison or YSL, but that's not at all what this is. This is not a rose patch. This is a very, very fruity floral. And I'm sure there's more to the story here than the notes are telling us, because I get a lot of berry in this perfume. Now, I am going to give this one another wear or two, but I'm pretty sure already that this one's got to go. This perfume to me smells like, you know, when you go to like Marshall's or TJ Maxx, and there's that one table and all of the perfumes are sort of like knocked over and they're missing their caps and half of them are sprayed and everybody is like testing them and trying them and no one buys them. Well, except for me apparently, because I bought this perfume. That's what this perfume reminds me of. So I don't know, maybe this will grow on me. I'm a little bit doubtful at this stage. There are a lot of really amazing, high quality, affordable perfumes, but I really don't think this is going to be one of them, but I'm still going to give it another couple of wears just to be sure. On the flip side, let's talk about Hot from Benetton. So when I was looking at Benetton perfumes online, when I saw Benetton Purple, I came across this perfume and then I ended up throwing it in the cart because why not? It was $9. So this came out in 1997. It is still in production. Today's bottle looks a little bit different than the original bottle. I didn't wear this perfume in the 90s, so I can't really compare the current formulation with the original, but this formulation smells great to me. The notes are lemon, mandarin orange, rosewood, and bergamot, lily of the valley, iris, apricot, and jasmine, and musk, cedarwood, amber, oak moss, sandalwood, and vanilla in the base. So if a perfume has oak moss in it, even if it's not real oak moss, because that's so restricted now, I am probably going to love it, because to me, oak moss just gives the perfume a little bit of a vintage feel, and this perfume definitely has that. There is only one review for this perfume on Parfumo, and the person who wrote it said that this perfume reminds them a little bit of Chanel Allure, and I can definitely see that comparison. This perfume reminded me more of Liz Claiborne, the original Liz Claiborne perfume, the one that came in like the triangular bottles in the primary colors. So this is like Allure, and Liz had a baby and named it Hot. I think for me, what gave it that sort of similar feel to the Liz Claiborne perfume is I get like that marigold kind of note from smelling this. It's a little bit spicier than the Liz Claiborne perfume. That perfume is much greener. But I think this perfume is really cool. I have not worn this one either, quite enough yet to give you a really full and thorough description of it, but give me some time with it because I think I am going to be reaching for this a lot. So next is Indi from Katy Perry. And as I had said in my most worn perfumes video for March, you will never ever find any perfume snobbery on this channel because I am open to trying just about any perfume. Sometime I will have to tell you the story about the time I smelled a perfume called Sombra from Strangers. Only go and look that perfume up if you dare. You have to have a very strong stomach to even read about that perfume. I have also smelled my fair share of oud perfumes that smell like actual straight up poop. But I'm getting off track here. Let's get back to Indi. Indi does not smell like poop. It is a lovely, plummy, creamy, woody, musky scent. It's very huggy, it's very comforting, but it's also got just a little teeny tiny bit of freshness or cleanliness to it. It has notes of white tea and lily of the valley and cyclamen that go with that plum and cedar and musk and amber and tonka bean. And I really, really like this perfume. I think this is going to become my go-to creamy, woody musk perfume. I already gave away amber musk from Erin to my mom, and now I think I'm actually going to give away my bottle of Kenneth Cole White because of these three sort of woody, musky, creamy perfumes. This is the one that I like the most. I also purchased this bottle of cocoa beans from Monotreme. This is nice, but it is not at all what I expected. So for maybe 2 years, maybe even more, I have been searching for the perfect cocoa tuberose scent. I know that's like a weird combination, but I'm like kind of obsessed with the idea of the perfect cocoa tuberose. I have tried Carnal Cacao from Maison Tahiti. I have tried one of the La Vie and Milano perfumes from Trussardi that has sort of like chocolate and tuberose. And now I've tried this one. And so far, this is the furthest from what I've been looking for. The Trussardi is the closest, but it's not quite there. So luckily, this is the only one of the three that I actually purchased. And I'm not disappointed by this perfume. I like it, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. So the notes are pear, pink pepper, cocoa, jasmine, tuberose, amber, benzoin, and patchouli. So I've only worn this once so far. This is another perfume I'm going to have to get to know better. But I was actually kind of surprised by the notes at how green and fresh this one smelled. And maybe I shouldn't have been because the word natural is written in giant capital letters right on the front of the bottle. But I think what I was expecting was something a little bit more like Fleurmond. So I guess I would describe this as a summer Fleurmond. It's very enjoyable. It's super inexpensive. And I will very happily wear this, or I could even see using this as a room spray. So before we get to my last perfume and my favorite discovery of the month, this is a bottle of Halston. So in the 80s, my mom and I shared a lot of perfumes together, and this was one of them. Now, she probably got Halston in the late 70s when it first came out because it was hugely popular at the time. I definitely remember as a kid pulling the cap off and smelling it and thinking how magical and amazing it was. And then in the 80s, I started wearing it because it was so gorgeous. I just wanted to put it on all the time. Now, I'm going to need to spend a little bit more time with this current formulation because right now I am having a hard time finding the Halston that I remember in this bottle. And this is really one of the most beautiful classic floral sheeps of all time. I might have to go looking for a vintage bottle of this so I can compare. In the meantime, let's talk about the perfumer and the bottle because both of them are iconic. So the perfumer is Bernard Chant, who I think created some of the best perfumes from decades when perfume releases were like few and far between. He created Aromatics Elixir from Clinique. He created Aramis, Cinnabar, Beautiful, and the one perfume that I think is the most fantastic of everything he's created that I've smelled, and that is the original Lauren from Ralph Lauren. His perfumes are timeless classics, and they still hold up today. And as for the bottle, it was designed by Elsa Peretti. She was one of Halston's favorite models. She went on to become a prolific jewelry designer for Tiffany, and she is now regarded as one of the most successful women in the jewelry industry ever. She actually modeled this bottle after a piece of thrifted jewelry, and the rest is history. This bottle is so ingrained in my being that I could probably draw it from memory, and I am a terrible artist. And finally, the smallest perfume I purchased ended up being the best one of the entire month. This is Rebelle by Rihanna. This perfume is excellent. It is excellent. I wish I had a bathtub full of this perfume that I could just ladle out on demand. This is strawberry, ginger, plum, cocoa, heliotrope, orchid, coffee, musk, amber, and patchouli. I mean, how amazing is that note list? And I will say that this perfume does not actually have the best opening in the world. It's not the notes per se, but there's a very synthetic-y vibe that it initially gives off, but that fades away really, really quickly, and you're just left with this gorgeous, strong cup of coffee that's giving wafts of sweetness, of powderiness, of woodiness, and muskiness. It is an absolutely phenomenal perfume, and I will definitely be patiently waiting as I look for a secondhand bottle of this discontinued beauty. Okay, so let's get to the numbers, the ads, the declutters, my budget, and my total spending. So I've shared all of the 9 bottles that I purchased this month. I also brought in 9 samples. All of them were in a swap with a new perfume friend. Hi! I did not ask permission to share her name on my channel, and I always want to be thoughtful of people's privacy if they don't have a public YouTube page as well. But she is awesome. Shout out to my friend. I love swapping with you. Thank you so much. And I also decluttered quite a bit in March. I got rid of 4 bottles, 2 minis, 3 perfume oils, 3 mists, and 13 samples. Some of them I sold, others I gave away, and some of the samples were in my sample swap. And I also made a whole bunch of decants for friends this month at my perfume party. And so now here's the bottom line. So every month I share my budget. My fun money budget is $100 to $150 per month. And as always, I want to acknowledge that it is a privilege to have any fun money to spend at all. That is not everyone's reality. It was not always my reality either. And it is not something I take for granted ever. So I started the month of March with a balance of $86.62 of fun money in what I call my perfume piggy bank. And during the month of March, I spent a total of $129.43. $125.45 was spent on perfumes, and $3.98 in postage for my swap. So yes, I did stay within my budget this month. I decluttered though to the tune of $429.27 this month, which was great. So altogether, I ended the month of March with a balance of $386.46 in my perfume piggy bank. Not a bad way to start the month of April. And even better than that, I am keeping up with my goal of moving things along as much as possible as I bring new things into my collection. So all in all, I would say March was a really good month. It was great blind buys, a great perfume swap, a super fun perfume party, and I gifted a whole bunch of things to friends that made them really, really happy. I hope that you're enjoying this series and that it gives you a little glimpse into the world of a perfume enthusiast like me, a regular person who doesn't keep up with every new release or every hyped perfume, who's on a budget, who doesn't have shelves and shelves with like 400 perfumes on them, and definitely doesn't have a credit card balance because of my perfume hobby. I think that that would actually stress me out a lot, and I would probably then stop enjoying this hobby, and I never ever want that to happen because I love perfume too much. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, for spending your time here with me, and for chatting perfumes with me in the comments. I love that. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.